forget the politics. Let's focus on the health angle, which is critical. KK was 53, seemingly fit, has a heart attack after a concert, dies suddenly. Is there a trend here? I'm joined by Dr. Dilip Kumar, cardiologist, one of the leading cardiologists in Kolkata. Dr. Sundeep Mishra, former professor of cardiology at AIIMS, is also with us. Let me come to you, sir, there in Kolkata first, Dr. Dilip Kumar. KK was sweating a lot. Apparently at the concert, the ACs were not working perfectly. It was a closed auditorium. He complained of some breathlessness, but wasn't immediately rushed to the hospital which was nearby, instead taken to the hotel room where he allegedly collapsed. By the time he reaches the hospital, it's too late. Is this a classic example of, if you don't act in that so-called golden hour, after you complain of this kind of restlessness, breathlessness, you could become a victim and it's too late then to revive you? Is that the real problem in cases like this, that the moment you complain of sweating, breathlessness, fatigue, you should immediately be rushed in?
Thank you, Rajdeep ji, and first of all, my heartfelt condolences to the family. And you are very right. This is the ominous sign and symptoms which anyone will have if someone has a heart attack. Or I heard he had a symptom on Monday as well. So it was probably an evolving myocardial infarction. He had Monday some symptoms, and then
no,
Tuesday
the symptoms were breathlessness and fatigue. The symptoms were breathlessness and fatigue. Is that enough to believe that you could be a heart attack could be around the corner?
Yes, in addition to that, he was perspiring a lot, which is a very, very classical sign of, any heart attack which is going on. So if everyone else is comfortable, you are sweating a lot, you are perspiring, you are feeling uncomfortable, this is an ominous sign and symptoms. And there he should not have wasted time. And we can, appreciate the commitment which he had. He, completed the program, and then instead of going to his hotel, he should have rushed to any hospital. And I think it was a sheer lack of, prompt action, which, let him pass away. It was very, very unfortunate and disturbing for all of us.
So
time is muscle. We keep on telling every time when we appear on television or in media, everywhere.
What did you say? Can you repeat that? Time is of the essence.
Time is muscle. Muscle means once you are losing time, once you are having heart attack, every single second, every single minute, you are losing your heart muscle. And if a substantial amount of heart muscle gets damaged, it can lead to arrhythmia, it can lead to heart failure, and you can drop down, and what happened in his case. And also it was very surprising, once he fell down in hotel, there were, I think, apparently people gathered around, they were taking selfies. But why was no CPR given to him? A chest compression, a simple chest compressions at 100 per minute can revive many of the patients. So small things which are very, lacking and which is really disturbing.
Let me come to you, Dr. Sundeep Mishra. We've seen now a number of cases, particularly a lot of celebrities, those who are in these high-stress professions, high-profile professions, a list of them in their 40s and 50s in the last 1 year, who've suddenly died of heart attack in their 40s, 50s. Is there a trend you notice there, or am I exaggerating it, being unduly alarmist?
No, I think, Rajdeep, you are right on the spot. And as a matter of fact, I may inform you that Indians as a race, if you call them race, basically South Asians, suffer all these problems about a decade earlier than the classical Western population. So classical Caucasian population, if they have this problem 50 years of age, we Indians and other South Asians have this problem at least a decade earlier. So that means that this 40 years of age is a usual age for Indian population to have these kind of issues. And I will go even further that like we as interventional cardiologists have treated even 20s, patients in 20s and 30s with heart attacks, and treated them, and
what are the symptoms, Dr. Mishra, that one should be looking out for, that one should be worried when we are in our 40s, 50s? Have your yearly checkup presumably, but any particular symptom, blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides?
Yeah, well, yeah, you are right. This is a lifestyle disease. So basically here, unlike other diseases, so for example, in tuberculosis, you have a bacteria that causes it. Here, there is no single bacteria. But here there are a host of lifestyle factors that are risk factors for causing coronary artery disease. And these risk factors are smoking, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, increased stress, and lack of sleep also to some extent. and all these lot of things, and bad cholesterol, high bad cholesterol content, all of these are risk factors which can cause the disease in any age group, but particularly in Indians and younger age group.
And presumably, Dr. Mishra, family history as well, right?
Family history as well, especially if somebody in family has suffered heart attacks at the age of 45 years, 40 years or something like that. At younger age, if family member has suffered, then risk factor, family history is also risk factor.
You know, to that extent, Dr. Dilip Kumar, in Kolkata, we have some, you know, the hospital was close to the concert. So, in an instance like this, we come back to it, the golden hour principle. You rush the person, the first thing you notice to the hospital, right? Rather than take him to the hotel, KK should have been taken to the hospital right away. His life would have been saved in your view.
Yes. I think there are 3 hospitals in the very near vicinity of the venue where it was happening. And it was almost 5 minutes distance. And a single ECG will clear the diagnosis. So a ECG will tell you whether there is a ST depression, ST elevation, if he is having a heart attack. And it will totally, you know, differentiate the situation and can guide you towards better treatment or proper treatment.
I just want to ask you though, Dr. Dilip Kumar, you remember in Kolkata, Saurabh Ganguly last year, as fit a person, is fitness, you know, people who have been on treadmill, who have stayed fit have also suffered heart attacks. Does that worry you, Dr. Dilip Kumar?
Yes, it's not always a, you know, advanced coronary artery disease, something like 80%, 90% disease which leads to plaque rupture and, you know, myocardial infarction. But sometimes it is 40% disease, 30% disease, anyone can have, and there is a plaque rupture and he goes into heart attack. So, and this is the age, you see 46, 50, early 50s, this is the age where the onslaught of coronary artery disease starts. And here we have to be very careful. At age of 40, you should have screen yourself with a, you know, CT coronary calcium, a treadmill test, ECG, echo, and blood, you know, lipid profiles. Very, very important, which we ignore. And one very important thing also,
yes,
you know, all stressful jobs, like as a doctor, we are, there are, you know, military men, there are police. Everywhere in job you go, there is a medical test and there is an annual medical checkups. Are the same thing happening in music industry, in acting, you know, the professions? Probably this is lacking there, and you know, it's my advice. If it is not there, it should be implemented.
So have that annual checkup. Yes, Dr. Mishra, you wanted to make a point. This, you know, a viewer has sent me a lot of 40+ people take up heavy exercise. Is that a wise thing to do?
Yeah. So you know, the point I was trying to make was that well, he collapsed, and then there was a window of opportunity. He could have been resuscitated. The thing is that if you invest, for example, even school children are taught basic life support techniques, and even advanced cardiac life support are taught to even school children. Sometimes, you know, all the police officers, the emergency, like ambulance drivers and firefighters, and so many other, even school teachers. But I think that kind of concept is not there in India, and therefore you miss this window of opportunity when somebody collapses. And if you immediately resuscitate doing CPR, or you could have given a shock, and you know, now many airports and many areas, all the hotels should have a defibrillator available. And if you are able to deliver it quickly, then within 8 minutes or so, then you could save life. So I think that is one another thing that is missing in this whole story.
You know, there are lots of lessons. I can tell you, as someone who is at the moment going through a checkup because of my cholesterol and maybe stressful lifestyle, some would say, I have to be careful, and this is a warning to lots of people. But our thoughts today are with the family of KK and indeed his fans. It is terrible and tragic what's happened in this case. If only he could have been moved to the hospital just a little faster. I appreciate my 2 doctors joining me, and a warning to all of you out there: go and get your health checkups done regularly.